You know, my grandfather, God rest his soul, used to have a typewriter. So he would do the clack, 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 and he would write stuff, and the stuff that he wrote belonged only to him. The company that made the typewriter wouldn't have access to what my grandfather wrote. And if my grandfather didn't want to share his writings with anyone, he didn't have to. But then the computer was invented, and many people found the computer much more convenient than the clack, 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 clack. Especially since you had backspace, and you could save your file, and you could copy paste, and you could use Control L. Everyone liked that, you know. Computers, they're great. And computers for a while worked similarly. It's like, well, what you write on your personal computer is yours. Like, no one is allowed to see what's on your computer unless you give them access, or if there's some probable cause with a court order, sure. But other than that, no, like, the computer was considered your private property. And then the internet happened, you know, and it's convenient now because you can just download stuff. You don't have to go to a store. You don't have to move your ass all the way to the store. I mean, that is such a huge difficulty. So it's a lot easier to just download stuff. And of course, you know, when you download stuff and you're on the internet is bad place. Hackerman is on the internet and he finds exploits. So all of these companies, they have to constantly patch their software in order to make sure that you stay safe. And then one day companies thought, you know what, like, why should you own the program? Why should you just buy it once and download it when it can be like a subscription? Or you know what, it can even be free, but there's a little bit of underlining over there. We get to harvest your data. So everything you do, we get to harvest it. Harvest the data. You're like the crop now. You're not a customer. You're the product. And as time goes on, we notice that companies are definitely reaching. They're testing the waters. They want to see how people react. You know, like what if companies can become the police? I mean, the government with the police for you. But why can't Adobe do it? You know, like what if some people have illegal stuff on their computer? Like, of course, you know, they're going to say something like, "Oh, we're going to look and monitor if you have CP." I don't want that. Oh, so you do have it. Oh, well, more reason for us to. Like, what, are you against it? You know, I don't want Adobe to go on my computer and say, so you must have it. That's the only possible reason in the world that you are not okay with the highly trustworthy people at Adobe to have access to your computer. And you know, like, why are you against it? I mean, Microsoft may already have it. Like, they're also making an AI. Like, if Microsoft can do it, why can't Adobe do it? Why can't Adobe do it? Like, Microsoft already does it. Like, what can... Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Microsoft has this new technology in mind where it also goes through every single file and image on your computer in order to help you find stuff better. So, like, for instance, if you go into the find bar and you look for brown shirt, it actually finds the files that contain brown shirts, even though the file name may be different, right? So in order to facilitate this high sought-after function, they have to install AI that just monitors everything that you do on your computer. Now, here's the problem, though. What happens if you're making something which is under NDA? Like, if you're working on a book for an author, if you're working on an image for a video game, or hell, maybe you got the blueprints for the new Samsung phone or for the new Apple iPhone. Does Adobe get to see them? Is you installing Adobe a violation of the NDA if that's the case? They didn't really think this through, did they? Now the reason they're doing this has nothing to do with keeping the internet safe. Right? Like, this is the bullshit excuse. This is how they get their foot in the door. Like, what else are you going to tell people? How can you justify this level of invasion in privacy? You gotta come up with some bullshit, right? But the reason they're doing this is to develop AI. Like, the AI needs a lot of data. They already harvested the internet for data, so now they're trying to harvest data from users. This is what I assume. There's no other fucking explanation. There's no other reasoning. It's also the power that they get. You know, you can have the German government going like, hey, this political party is running in opposition with us. It kind of looks bad if we outright ban them. You know, it looks bad on the camera. I mean, we're still trying to pose as some semblance of a democracy. So, you know, just scan their computer for hate speech and stuff, like find out what private individual is supporting the party and then start scanning them for illegal memes and shit like that, right? Like, that's how it's going to be used. And Adobe will probably say, well, yeah, sure, German government, how much are you paying? Or what facilities do we get if you do, like, do we get any tax cuts? Do we get any bonuses? This is how I view the interaction. Of course, it's just my opinion as a cynical Eastern European. But, like, this is the way things are going. The governments love it. The companies love it. Everyone loves it, right? The only people that don't love it is the individuals. And, of course, it's going to be interesting to see, as I mentioned before, like, what happens with other companies that have people working at them under NDA. And they may not even know that, oh, well, I'm using Adobe, and even though I'm under NDA, they can actually spy on my computer. And then you can get into some interesting legal trouble. But another thing is people trusting them with the data, right? And again, it's one thing if you're just an artist and you're drawing stuff for your Tumblr account, like, that's fine. But, like, what if you're an engineer and you're actually working for a corporation? Like, you're actually doing some important stuff. Like, your data now, if it's taken by a company like Adobe or Microsoft, you know, even if they claim, well, our workers would never violate your privacy. Like, we would never look into the stuff that you are doing. What if they get hacked? I mean, it happens so many times, right? Like, Sony got hacked. They also store data. They also store what people speak on voice chat, right? And they claim, oh, like, no one is actually going to listen to that. It's all automated. It's all AI. Like, no one... Yeah, but then when the hacker man gets it, they do listen to that, right? So it took 6 months for Sony to actually let people know, hey, by the way, we did get hacked. If you used your password for your PlayStation account to something else, like, I don't know, PayPal or your Google Mail, yeah, I mean, you may want to change it. I know it's been 6 months, but like, hopefully the hackers haven't gotten into you yet. So, this thing got a lot of backlash. Like, it was announced immediately, people were upset, and apparently they said that Adobe performs content analysis only on content processed or stored on the Adobe servers. We don't analyze content processed or stored locally on their device. So they claim they won't analyze anything which is stored on the user device. Now, if that's legitimately the case, and you actually believe what they are saying, which at this point is probably true, first of all, you gotta get used to the idea of normalization, right? Like, the first thing that they will do is to normalize the process that, yeah, like, the stuff that you are putting out there, they can look at it, right? So when it's normal, when more companies do it, then they can do it even more, right? So they can look at onto your computer as well. And people will be less likely to do a pushback. Like, if you remember when Xbox One was announced, and they had, like, the Kinect only, and they were harvesting data from people, like, it was met with a huge backlash, huge outrage. Now Sony does it openly. Like, they're saying, yeah, your microphone, if you're talking with other people, yeah, we're monitoring it. Yeah, no, sure. I mean, we are harvesting data from you. Yeah, of course. And people are, like, fine with it, right? Because it was normalized. And the second thing is, if it's on your device, they will not look into it. People have to check that there's not going to be an update in the future, which by default uploads stuff on their cloud. So even if it's on your device and you're thinking, okay, I'm saving it locally, just by accessing it, it automatically transfers on their server. So you need to be careful with that, because if that's the case, then this would be legally correct, right? Like, they wouldn't go for your device. But if they put an update and now it's online only, like automatically updating on their cloud, then this would still be true and they could still see the stuff that you're doing. Again, this is not Adobe. I don't even use Adobe, so I generally don't care. Like, this literally doesn't affect me. But I do see that in the future, more and more companies are going to see what's on your computer. And I think, like, the thing that really pisses me off about it is that the people that actually do nasty shit, like the actual criminals, They're just going to use a computer that's offline, like they will not connect it to the internet, and they're going to do whatever racist memes and whatever illegal stuff is there. Meanwhile, the law-abiding citizens, they're going to get harassed with this shit. You know, you're actually going to do some work-related stuff, and then you may tweet something offensive. You may make a racist meme or a sexist joke or a transphobic shit. And then they will say, oh, you just lost your ability to use this program because you're in violation of RTOS. So all of your work-related stuff is now locked down. And you have to justify it to your boss. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I can't use Adobe anymore. Yeah, no, they caught me posting on Twitter. I think this is the problem. But hopefully I'm wrong, you know? Like, hopefully that's not going to be the case. Still, it is interesting that they're testing this technology, right? Like, I genuinely think that they posted this in order to see how the public reacts. And right now, there is a huge backlash against it. But, as time showed, it's like, okay, well, there's a backlash. They can just backpedal a little bit, and other companies push forward a little, and then they push forward as well, and it becomes normalized. So, I do expect that in the future, everything that is on your computer is not really yours. Like, it's going to be in the cloud. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.